Good evening, everyone. My name is Andre Allen Casey. Just want to thank you all for being here. Brother Smith is also here, so at the appropriate time he will come in, or he can come in anytime he wants. uh, but never take for granted, by the way, your presence. And so thank you very much for being here. We're going to do a little recapping. We do have some questions from the last um, episode that we did, Am I a Victim or a Victimizer? And so what we're going to do, because we don't have a lot in terms of information to continue with, so what we'll do, we'll just do the recap and just complete everything today. And then we will want to give you all of something like 45 minutes. Well, we have plenty of time to literally ask as many questions as possible. So the questions that we had before, we're going to deal with those questions. And then if you have some questions in tonight's presentation, then we'll try and deal with all of those questions, because this is going to be the only one leave. Next month, we start a new series, but Brother Smith will at the appropriate time, will talk to us about that. So am I the victim or the victimizer in my relationship? It is such an important subject matter. Why? Because the truth is, folks, especially what is going on in our country, in our society right now, too many folks feel like they are the victim, and as a result of that, feel like they have a right in whatever they're doing, and even how to approach things, because they feel like they are the victims. We're doing some recapping first, but so we're not going to spend a lot of time right here on some of these things. Notwithstanding, if it's the first time you're coming on, we're just going to give you enough information for you to move on. What you said to me, or what you said made me act that way. You hit me, you shoved me too. You started this, you're abusing me too. And so you find that everybody feel like they have a right to defend themselves, because they feel like the other person was the one who started the pain that they're experiencing. So if they believe that you started the pain that I'm experiencing, then hey, I have a right to defend myself. Unfortunately, many times in our effort to try and defend ourselves, we are tearing relationships apart, because the truth is we have not learned how to fight fairly. Instead, we fight fiercely. Okay? Like I said, not going to spend a lot of time on some of these things. Many times people are able to recognize that their relationship is unhealthy or even abusive, but quite a number of persons also believe that the abuse exists on both ends, or that both partners are at fault in relation to the abuse. And so the question that confronts us is, who is right? Who is really the victim or the victimizer? Who is really the victim or the victimizer? While there are some clear boundaries that, if violated, would identify the victimizer, a vast number of persons in their relationships, in their marriages, have contributed to their own victimization without realizing or marginalized by another, by their own victimization. And this is because of their own, watch this now, conceptualization, of their own conceptualization, of their own understanding, and watch this, hear this word now, interpretation of their situation. Because of their interpretation of their situation, as far as they are concerned, I am the victim. And if I am the victim, guess what? It is now your responsibility to do something to let me feel less angry. And many times we don't take the responsibility on our part. So since I am in pain, what can I do to relieve or release myself from pain? The unfortunate thing, folks, is that we oftentimes want the other person to do something. And once they have failed to do so, then not only do we feel victimized, but now we have a right to react or respond in a particular way. And so we want to kind of fix all of that. The truth is, we really want to kind of fix all of that. That is the primary reason as to why we're doing this subject matter at this point in time. Okay, so I did not sign up for this. I did not sign up for this. That is, let me just put this down here so that it doesn't interfere with my presentation. I did not sign up for this. The real person is now emerging because you are seeing some stuff that the truth is you're like, ha, I didn't know who this person is. You're hearing the lies, you're hearing the shouting, you're hearing the name calling, you're hearing the threats. That's right. And you're experiencing the verbal, the emotional, and the physical abuse. And when we look in our society today, we will recognize that these things are quite prevalent in our society today. Why so? Because persons are saying, I am the victim here. And remember what we said earlier, there are sometimes there are some boundaries that it is clear. Even a blind man could recognize that those boundaries, they have been violated. And so we are talking about, we're not only talking about those boundaries that is clear that they have been violated, but we're also talking about some boundaries that we possibly have violated ourselves, or some instances that we put ourselves in and made ourselves victim and made ourselves a victim. And so as we continue here, the first one here, we're saying here, I did not sign up for this. You recognize what is happening. You're upset. So because you did not sign up for this and you're seeing some of these clear boundaries, as far as you're concerned, I need to go. No, seriously, I need to go. I can't bother with this. And so you are looking for an exit route, so to speak, because you are seeing some stuff. And I'm not saying rightly so you should go, and I'm not either saying rightly so you should stay. Notwithstanding, all I'm saying here, because you did not sign up for this, there we have some examples right here. Notwithstanding, there might be some that you have in your mind that I did not sign up for this. So maybe one of the questions we can ask ourselves, what is it that we seek to achieve going forward? Since I did not sign up for this, since I'm now experiencing all of these things, the disappointments, the abuse, the emotional, the verbal, the physical, the broken promises, the unfulfilling gender roles that continue to plague us. Now that we are confronted with these things, what do I do? What can I do? And I'm kind of just saying here, although we kind of give some answers to that before in part one, but we're also kind of saying here that we need to ask, because I can give you some stuff here, folks, but please remember what I'm giving you is different from the experiences that you are having. And so you have to find out and possibly even ask yourself, is it worth it? Is it worth it? No, seriously, since you did not sign up for this, and since you're experiencing some stuff then that in your mind are deal breakers, you must ask yourself, is it worth it? Can I deal with this deal breaker? Or is it that there are some things that I can do to ensure that the outcome of the relationship going forward is going to look differently? So it is some questions that you need to ask yourself. Oftentimes though, we have seen where some folks give up too early. Yes, they give up too early. They see these deal breakers, and as far as they're concerned, okay, I want out. And chances are, just now, chances are, maybe if they step back and recognize that maybe I can do something differently so that I can get a different result. And can I do something? Do I have some kind of control on my part to do something differently so that I can get a different result? Unfortunately, many, many times we do not, because we feel so victimized by our expectations that are not being fulfilled, because we feel so victimized by that, oftentimes as far as we are concerned, we feel like we don't have any power to do anything about it. And I'm saying to us, that's not entirely true. I'm saying to us, folks, that with that said, notwithstanding, I too can just kind of step back and say, can I do something? You see, one thing is for sure, that we cannot mirror the bad behavior we are experiencing. Say that again, Andre. We cannot mirror the bad behavior we are experiencing. We have to come with something different. If you leave the relationship, and I'm not saying you should leave or you should stay, but all I'm saying is, if you leave the relationship, how do you educate your partner in relation to what is the right thing to do? It's a question. That's a question. It's a question that each person must ask themselves. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm inviting you, though, to empower yourself, to say to yourself, yeah, can I do something differently? And if I believe that I can do something differently, or I've tried to do something differently, and the result is one and the same, then the ball is in your court as to what is it that you need to do going forward. But at minimum, I invite you to see if you can do something differently. I invite you to even go to counseling, for that matter. Come to counseling, you know, and not only through myself, but even through we have a wonderful counseling thing where St. Andrew Church of Christ is concerned, but even at Family Life Ministries. But I'm saying you can go look at other folks and examples of other folks that have kind of been through some similar relationships or challenges that you're having, and find it from them. What did they do to ensure that the outcome looked better? You see, oftentimes, whenever we're going through pain at this point in time, we believe that that pain is going to continue throughout our points in time. And that's not really true. Actually, that's quite false. So I want us to take that under consideration once we say, I did not sign up for this. Let me move on. Feeling sorry for yourself. Yeah, right. So I understand that feeling. Yeah, you know, at some point in time, we're going to feel sorry for ourselves. But the question is, sometimes they say we will feel sorry for ourselves, and therefore that puts us into a victim role, because I feel sorry for myself. You feel victimized by your circumstances because of what is happening to you, and as a result of that, you kind of feel sorry for yourself. Rightly so, understandably so. But sometimes whenever we feel sorry for ourselves, folks, we can't find the energy. We can't find the energy to take ourselves out. We can't even see clearly as to what we must do. To the extent that we are literally looking for the other person to do something to make us be better and feel better. And if that support is not forthcoming, then oftentimes we feel angry and we feel alone. We feel deserted. And as a result of that, you know, just to find the energy to mobilize ourselves, to turn our lives around and to become victorious rather than feel like victims, unfortunately, that becomes an uphill battle for many persons. And so I'm saying here, feeling sorry for ourselves really and truly is not a good ingredient for us to become victorious. Instead, it makes us feel more like victims in our relationships. Let me move on. Our paranoia. Whoa. And I think I spent a lot of time on this paranoia thing. But let me do the short version of this one. Our paranoia. Yeah, we have to understand that if we believe that we are victims, sometimes, rather, let me put it this way. Sometimes, because of our own paranoia, it automatically makes us victims because of our own what? Paranoia. So in other words, so we create scenarios that put us into a place where we will feel victimized, even when our partners are not doing anything. They have done their utmost best to ensure that, listen, they try to serve you in the relationship, but it seems as if nothing you do is the right thing, because they're always finding fault. That's right, folks. They're always finding fault with even your best efforts. And so if you find that you are paranoid yourself, we invite you to come to us. You know, probably I need to give him a number, but on a real sense though, we are saying here, come and let us talk to you about your own paranoia, because chances are you are having a thought process that is not true. In other words, you based your emotions and your reactions is based upon what you feel, not what you know. Not what you know. It is rooted primarily in our feelings. So yeah, me feel say I cheat, me feel say me feel say I did, me feel say, right? Or sometimes we can say, what if to, you know? And so we just assume that because we don't have the facts, then our imagination run wild with us. And so what if you do this, and what if you do that, and what if? And so we plague our relationships with a lot of what if, and then use the what if now to determine our security in the relationship. Again, we use the what? The what if to determine our security in the relationship. So our paranoia, folks, it really goes a long way in contributing oftentimes to our own victimization into the relationship. I don't know, I think I have something here. The paranoid person is unwilling to forgive perceived insults. Watch this word here now. Relentlessly suspicious. They shift the blame to other people and tend to carry long grudges. The paranoid person is combative and have a tenacious adherence to personal rights. So they always talk about, what about me? What about my rights? What about how I feel? What about? And then, and it doesn't matter if you even say, okay, then let's consider your feelings and everything like that. So if you even satisfy their status quo, so to speak, at that point in time, it doesn't end there, because they are going to find something else to become suspicious where you are concerned, to feel unsafe where the relationship is concerned. So even when you're right beside them on the bed, as far as they're concerned, they have a dream, and that dream said you left out in the night and you came back. I'm not laughing. I'm laughing, but I'm not laughing. But I'm just saying this, folks. The paranoia, your own paranoia, can really put you into the position of feeling victimized, even when your partner has not done anything to warrant that. Okay, why bother? Change will not happen. Why bother? Change will not happen. You know, sometimes this is, you find that we give up. And why we give up is because we cannot just seem to have an eye. And that eye says, I'm going to look down the future. We look through our balls, and sometimes we say, yes, man. It doesn't make no sense, because I've tried that, I've tried this, I've tried that. And look how much time I try these things. And look at, and I'm getting the same result. I'm getting the same result. Could that person mute your mic, please? Could you mute your mic, please? Right. Right. And since I'm getting the same result, if that person could just mute your mic, please. I don't know who. Kindly mute your mic. Okay. Okay. Right. So what we're saying here is, so you look through your crystal ball, so to speak. And oftentimes what you do, you look at the experiences that you have been having. And I'm not saying you are incorrect, but you've been looking through the experiences. And because for 10 years, you have had this experience, now nobody can tell you nothing. For 10 years, this person has been behaving this particular way over and over and over. So you, Mr. Counselor, can't come tell me that perspective, you know, and conceptualization and interpretation of your situation and all of those jargons is going to mean that this person is going to change. Listen, you're bread butter on both sides. You can't tell me nothing. This is my reality. This is the life I am living. So you have nothing to say to me. Well, folks, with that kind of mindset, I am kind of just also saying to us that chances are you're going to follow the rest of sheep them and jump over the cliff. And understandably so, because you have been having this experience for 10 years and more. So when somebody come and say, yeah, can you try this? As far as you're concerned, try what? Well, I am kind of saying, folks, that be the black sheep, if you understand what I'm saying. You know, be the odd one that says, you know, something, yeah, I can try something else. I know as far as if I'm going to use history is going against me. If I'm going to use history, history is telling me that, listen, I am going to be stupid, sorry to use that word, but foolish to even think that you might change if I should do something differently, especially considering that I believe I've done everything under the sun. Now to go try something differently, I am tired of trying so that you can learn a lesson and become better. I am tired of trying. And so why am I going to even bother? And I'm saying sometimes with that mindset, folks, then we continue to feel victimized in our relationship. I am kind of putting forward here that we can do it differently. Yes, we can kind of say, you know what is true? And know that for 1 year, for 10 years, for 15, for 20 years, my partner has been behaving this particular way. But you know something? If I lock into that mindset, then as far as I'm concerned, I have now branded my partner. A matter of fact, as far as I'm concerned, that a leopard can't change its spot. So guess what happened? There is no way my partner is going to change. And if I kind of maintain that mindset, then the truth is, I feel like I'm now a victim in this relationship. I want to invite us, folks, to have this mindset, or just, let me give you this point. A lot of times, our experiences occur in a moment in time. One way, I'm not saying the only way, one way, write this down. One way is leave the bad moments in their bad times. I know easier said than done, it is true. Leave the bad moments, because if you don't leave the bad moments, then it means you're using the bad moments to regulate and dictate how you operate and how you function going forward. And if you use those bad moments, you're not going to have any hope to go forward, to push on. You're not going to believe that you're going to have success come tomorrow. No, because you have already given up on hope. Why? Because your experiences, your bad experiences, is enough for you to say, why bother? Change will not happen. I am putting forward to you that to say, listen, just because, you know, again, let me use this example. Have I ever lied before? Yes. My name is Andre Allen Casey. Doesn't mean I should, because I've lied even repeatedly, my name must be called Andre Liard Allen Casey. Or Liard Andre Allen Casey. Or Andre Allen Casey Liard. But Liard have to be there. You know, who wants to be branded with something bad necessarily? Most persons don't want that. Most persons. And all I'm saying here, we don't want our reputation to be tarnished that way. And especially as far as our partner is concerned and the partnership that we have with this other person. We don't want them to think of us into a negative or an ugly way. So I'm saying, can you imagine you are prepared to give your partner another chance? Why? Because you want to stop brand them. And they too do not want to be branded. Now, maybe we can have a discussion on how we change behavior, although I think we have done that in subsequent Nav Life series, right? But even so, maybe we can be reminded on how we can change behavior. But notwithstanding, are you prepared to give your partner another chance? One. Number two, are you prepared to leave the bad behavior in that moment and at that time? Or is it that you're going to be reminded of the ugliness? Remember, folks, if you ruminate on your pain, it doesn't teach you how to become better, but possibly to remain bitter. But possibly to remain bitter. Let me look at the other one here. The need to control your outcome. The need to control your outcome. You know, it seems evident that we are creatures of habit, and if so, it makes us inclined to become resistant to change. Let me see what else I have here. If we are resistant to change, then we push back, which may place us in either feeling victimized or becoming the victimizer. Yes, to control my outcome. I understand and I agree that my decision determines my destiny. I understand that. And sometimes when you make yourself vulnerable, because that's what relationships are. That's right, folks, where you have made yourself what? Vulnerable to someone else. And once you have made yourself vulnerable to a large extent, folks, they have some kind of control as in relation to the outcome, to your outcome. Because you have shared, you're sharing now a whole part of your life, not just half, feel like 3/4, maybe the whole life with someone else. And so the truth is, their action can affect your outcome. True, make no mistake, make no mistake. Now, sometimes we can feel victimized, or we are the victimizer or the victim. Why? Because we feel that there's a need to control our outcome. Sometimes we can start to make demands. Catch this now. We can start make what? Demands on our partners by saying to them, listen, this is the kind of relationship I want, you know. Okay? This is what I want of you. This is what I want from you. And start to make some strong demands. And the other person is like, well, what about me? I too must have a say in how I want my life to turn out. I know we are in a partnership, but I must have a say. It is partnership, not ownership. So how is it that you are having all and all the talk to what my life is going to look like going forward? And so with that kind of pushback, I'm not saying this is incorrect, but with that kind of pushback, then you now feel like the victim into the relationship, because you believe that I must also have some kind of control in relation to the outcome of this relationship, rather than one person giving all the commands and the rule, making all the rules and the regulations in relation to the outcome. Because when one person giving all of the dictates, many times, not saying all the time, I'm just saying many times, it is to satisfy that one person and not necessarily both persons into the relationship. Oftentimes, that's all I'm saying. When you hear the commands coming down from one person, a lot of times it is where they are going to come out being benefiting from those regulations as against the other person who has to conform now to those rules and regulations. The question is, what do we do? So clearly, I hope we can see so far that the need to control our outcome can either make us victimizers, or where we are placed in the victim role because we have to conform to the rules and regulation of one person in the relationship. So somebody might ask that beautiful question, so what we must do then? If that be the case, what must we do? Wow, we're ready to ask. I hope you don't ask me that question. We're ready to do the question and part section. You can ask that question, but I hope you don't ask it though, because that one is a hard one. And I hope that Brother Smith can be thinking about a response for that one in the meantime. But be it as it may, let me go through some more, because I want to give you enough time to write down your questions, and so that we can deal, do our best where that is concerned. The next one here speaks to trust or lack of trust. And so many times in our relationships, because we do not have trust, because there's no trust into the relationship, which by the way is akin to being paranoid, because at the base of the paranoia is a lack of trust also. But what we're saying here is that many times we are just afraid to be vulnerable. So we come into our relationships already have some preconceived ideas and notions in relation to our partners. Now, can you imagine you're supposed to be looking to live a very long time with this person, and yet for a very long time you still don't trust them? When is it going to stop, folks? When is it going to stop? Is it that the things that you say you don't trust the person about, is it your own paranoia that is causing that? One. Number two, is it that they have done something that then puts you into a place that, listen, I cannot be vulnerable with you because you keep on breaking the trust. Your actions or inactions for that matter keeps on putting me into a place where, something, I have to check up on you oftentimes. So if that is the case, how can I even trust you? I don't even know that when you leave my company, what is it that you're doing? So how can I feel safe with you if I don't trust you? And so we recognize, by the way, that a number of relationships, a number of relationships, and this is not an exaggeration, but quite a number of relationships, no matter how long we are even married in those relationships, there are oftentimes a lot of elements of trust that continue to plague the relationship. And on both ends, we're not going to tell you which one more than the other, but on both ends, um, partners are complaining and they're crying out and they're saying, you know, I don't completely trust my partner. Somebody might say, hey, you can't completely trust nobody. I don't have a response to that. But what I can say, folks, is that not having any kind of trust cannot grow your relationship. It cannot harmonize your relationship. I can say that you will feel like a victim into the relationship. I will say this, that at some point you have to make yourself vulnerable at some point. Not only that, I'm not asking you to be blind, not at all. I'm not saying that you must be so naive or have a closed mind. No, nor am I even saying you must have, your mind must be so open that your brains might fall out. No, I'm not saying that. Notwithstanding, I'm saying though, you have to give each other an opportunity to deliver the trust. You have to what? Give each other the opportunity to deliver the trust, for you to be exposed to want to trust the person. And please remember, because they may have broken the trust right here, is not a foolproof guarantee that in every other aspect of the relationship, trust is going to be broken. Sometimes we just need to leave it right here, so you know, that's right, folks, just leave it right here, so. I know somebody said, yeah, you can go and talk, but that's the point I'm making. How are you going to go forward? What kind of relationship do you think you should have or even want if you operate under the guise that says, I will never trust you again? And I'm saying that's not a healthy or a stabilized or a harmonious relationship with that kind of mindset. Secret Service agent, the Secret Service agent. Yes, folks. Sometimes we contribute to being victimized. Why? Because we are or have become overtly private. We have become overtly private. Sometimes, you know, we even said to our partners, you know, me stay already, you know, me not a really talkative person, you know. So you know me, you know, when you're married to me, you know, so I wasn't a very talkative person. And while that might be true, sometimes people are just kind of don't understand, because the same person who's not very talkative, when they are with their friends, in the name of Jesus, them cannot shut up. They have an endless loquacity. And so I'm saying here, sometimes they say, at what stage, when did we become so secretive? When did we become so secretive? You see, oftentimes, we put ourselves in a position where we feel our partner must say, I have a right to know. A-R-K, I have a what? A right to know. And why so? Because they see you start to shifting. An example of the shifting is just even your phone. You know, or you've done something that is outside of your ordinary modus operandi then. How you normally operate and function. And they're seeing things that they said, I don't understand this movement, I don't understand this behavior. And they don't have a right to have a conversation with you about it. I don't know if that is healthy, folks. If they don't talk to you, who they can talk to? That's when they're going to create suspicions in their heads and in their minds. And it's not their own paranoia, by the way. It is you shifting. And so I'm saying, when you become a Secret Service agent, sometimes you put yourself into a position where you can feel victimized because you are not prepared to share. Conversation, folks, is one of the leading things that is going to keep marriages, relationships. A lack thereof is one of the leading things that can destroy our relationships. And so do not become a secret. Say, if you did get the job or take on the job, at least make your partner know. No? I'm just saying, even on that phone thing, the phone ring right here saying it's right here, say it ringing up, but you have to get up for talk. We have to get up for talk. All right, so fine. Somebody said, don't ask me a question. What do you mean? Suppose the conversation I don't want the other person to hear. I mean, okay, then fine. That's true. Nothing is wrong with that. But no, you're gone even outside, and your voice come down, and you laugh and talk and what have you. And it is done repeatedly. And then when you put on your phone have to it have to be face down, not face up. Because I don't want a person, in case somebody WhatsApp me out, whatever. And there's a host of different things, you know, and that's why your whole movement just looks suspicious when you never used to do it. That's what I mean by the Secret Service agent. You never used to behave like that. And all of a sudden now you say, you behave a look shifty. And therefore they have to ask. No, you're going to disagree with me, folks, but I am saying those, when you see them kind of shifting movement, you have a right to have a conversation with your partner about it. That's right, folks. You have a right to have a what? A conversation. I wouldn't want to go as far as to say to you that you need to go into them phone and no. I am saying whatever you're searching for, ask for. Say it again, Andre. Whatever you think you should search for, what must you do? Ask for it. Have the conversation about the things that is troubling to you, right? Next, the unwillingness to forgive, to forget. Oi. Let me hurry up here. Whoa, 45 minutes to go on it. But the unwillingness to forgive, to forget. And what we're kind of saying here, where this is concerned, is that, boys, sometimes we make ourselves the victim. Why? Because we're heart just too bitter. Yeah, man, it's like we have a vampire, a bite out one heart. A snake, a bite out one heart. And guess what happened? The other person, real and truly, not even a pay away, as the saying go, you know, puppy mind, right? not paying us any mind, because they don't have those issues that we are having. And so they can sleep. Their paranoia is, they're not troubled by paranoid personality disorders, by high blood pressure, sleep disorders, having intrusive thoughts. They're not bothered by those things. It is you now who believe you me because you have so much, you carry so much belly and so much feeling for this person. Forget? You must be crazy. That's not a part of the way we think. As far as we're concerned, I need to remember this. Even although the person says sorry 10 million years ago, you still hold it against them. I need to remember this. And not only do you hold it against them, every conversation you have with your mother, with your father, with your sister, with your brother, with everybody else, even with mother, brother, sister, with everybody else, is about how this person had hurt you 20 years ago, 25 years ago. I bet you when I carry it down low now, people can say, 25 years ago sound extreme. All right, then 5 years ago. Some folks says, no man, you're supposed to still remember that. All right, then 5 days ago, 5 days ago, what do you mean forget? Well, listen, folks, well, all I'm saying here, at least for 5 days, look at what you're putting yourself through, because you are not putting yourself in a mind to forgive, to forget. Somebody says, you can never forget. And I say to you, wow, I hear what you're saying. Unfortunately though, but forgetting is a part of our DNA, because we forget every day. One equation you can use, simply put it this way. If I have to remind you, it means that you forgot. Simple as that. The minute you needed to be reminded of something, it means that you what? You forgot. Forgetting is a part of our DNA. The question is, look at what we want to remember. Look at what we want to remember. Oftentimes we don't want to remember the good things. We remember the bad things, and that's why we remain victims in our relationships, because we're not prepared to let go of the past. We want to hold on to it because we need to defend our positions. But in defending our positions, folks, look at what it is doing to us. Our heart have a snake, a viper wrap around it and biting the daylights out of it. I can move on. You can ask me questions on that. I'm going to move on. Living in the past. Living in the past, folks. Again, we can become victims because we are too short-sighted, you know, or we're not looking ahead. We are moving forward, but remain behind. We are moving forward, but what? Remain behind. And so sometimes this, folks, believe you me, it doesn't help to be reminded of that past or to hold on to that past. I'm not just talking any past. We're talking about the past that is interfering with how you go forward. That's the past that we are talking about, that we have under consideration here. Those things that is interfering with how we go forward. And so I'm kind of saying here that we have to kind of take back responsibility for my well-being. And what do I mean by that? Say, listen, there are people that are going to want to hold you back into the past, you know, and remind you about all the bad things that you did in the past. But I'm kind of also saying that, listen, man, give yourself a present by living in the present. They want to hold you back there, but you must continue moving forward. That's right, folks. They want to, you know, sometimes we give people too much power over us, too much power. Their opinion of us seem to put us into prison, and it captivates us. And all I'm kind of just saying here, listen, if I did something in the past and I forgave myself, it is on you who failed to forgive me. Say it again, Andre. If I've done something in the past and I forgave what? Myself, it is on you who is failing to what? To forgive me. It's on you, it's no longer on me. And I'm kind of saying to our audience here to have that mindset, because how long are they going to hold you back? Every day you're going to get up and tell them sorry? You know, I know that for the past 15 years, I've been telling you sorry every day. And I'm sorry again. And worse, if your actions showed that you are sorry. And they feel, as far as they're concerned, they are so tarnished by it. But now they have a responsibility to take themselves out of that pain. They have that responsibility to take themselves out of that pain, which possibly leads me to my next point. Let me see. That's not it. But I'm going to talk about closure. Don't reach this side, but soon reach the closure, which is akin to living in the past, because sometimes they are looking for closure, but they want you to do a ton of things for them to have closure. Sometimes I'm saying it is on them. Whatever you can do to help them to achieve that, fine. But after that, you must decide where you want your car to end up. You must decide where you're driving your vehicle to. It's one thing when you prips into your side mirrors, you know, and your rear view mirror, you know. But it's that big everlasting mirror in front of you, a windscreen in front of you. It means that's where you must pay most of your attention. You must be looking through that big mirror, or big glass in front of you. Look at your windscreen, man, and not at your rear view mirror. All right? Being the puppet, it is because of you why I'm this way. Whoa. I mean, that's one of the things that makes people feel like they are victims in their relationships, because we keep on using that card on people. Yes, man, that's our damaging card. And we feel that, you see, once we use it, then the other person must now submit, or they must change, because, you know, we show them that card. And what's that card? It's because of you why I'm this way. And so we see, with that kind of mindset, then it begs the question, is who run who? If somebody says because of you I am this way, then they are making themselves a victim. They have what made themselves, folks, a victim. Is because of you why I'm this way. They have made themselves a victim. I am saying, stop being a puppet. Stop being the puppet. No Pinocchio here. All I'm saying here is because of you, I am this way. I am saying that is not true. We have to learn to take responsibility for what comes out of us and stop shaming, stop blaming, stop criticizing, stop coercing, stop controlling. Because we do that a lot of times, and even withdrawing. So we play those cards to get the other person to do better. Yeah, we're vexed with them, we're malice them. Why? Because we need to do something out of the ordinary to get the persons who have offended us to change. And sometimes we limit our own ability to change. Sometimes, unfortunately, those reactions are not good to us, or even good for us, or even good for our relationships. I'm saying, folks, it is not because of you I am this way. I'm kind of saying, then probably pull it out of you. I give this illustration oftentimes when I'm doing presentations. I say, if I tell you a bad word, no, correction, if I step on your toe and you tell me a bad word, I didn't put the bad word in you. But yet again, it says, because I step on your toe, why you tell me a bad word? The truth is, I pull it out, I didn't put it in. So I'm kind of saying here, folks, is saying we have to take responsibility for what is coming out of us and stop blaming and shaming and putting the onus on other folks. You know, the shadow doesn't direct the real image. Oh, golly. Entitlement. And I think this is where we may have stopped, but we can pick up right here. So now we don't have much more to go. But entitlement. And entitlement says, what do I do to deserve this? You know, oftentimes people with a sense of entitlement believe that they deserve special consideration. They deserve special treatment. And if it is not forthcoming, then they have a right to rebel. See? Then you put yourself in a victimized role again, because you feel you must get special treatment. And so sometimes we make some unnecessary demands on our partners because we feel that, yes, I must get it, I deserve this. Then what about your partner? No, really, what do they deserve? Suppose everybody had that mindset. Don't you say that you have problem in the camp, folks? Suppose everybody says, yeah, but I deserve, and I deserve, and everybody say I deserve. And whatever they deserve, they're not getting. And because they're not getting it, guess what happened? There's a standoff. They're not going to do because they're not getting. I'm saying that is called entitlement. Maybe, just maybe, we should be looking to serve each other. We should be trying to find out what is it that I can do to lend to your happiness. And you must find out what is it that you can do to lend to my happiness. Rather than we coming with our bucket list, telling the other person, this is what you must do to make me happy. To make me happy. Entitlement, folks, it is killing folks. That's why we recommend people learning each other love languages. Learning each other love languages. We are through. Why? Because you're searching for closure. Again, you can be the victim if you believe that closure is exclusively dependent on the other person. Whoa, I have had too many, and I'm in the business. This is my business. Everything I'm sharing here with you is my business, right? But I've had too many folks that cannot move on with their lives because they want their victimizer to treat them a particular way. They want their victimizer to say, I'm sorry. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, yes. They want what, folks? Their victimizer to say, I'm sorry. So if the victimizer say, I'm sorry, then it releases them to not only feel better, but know they can move on with their lives. Suppose the victimizer don't feel like they want to say sorry. Suppose it's a mechanical sorry. Don't you see that it leaves you into a place where you continue to feel angry? So the truth is, searching for closure should not necessarily be dependent on the person who has hurt you or who is hurting you. If you are in pain, it is your responsibility, folks, to relieve and release yourself of pain. Say that again, Andre. If you are in pain, it is what your responsibility to relieve and release yourself of that pain. Not necessarily asking the other person to cease and desist with immediacy. Not necessarily. Because if they fail to acknowledge your request, then you remain a victim. Then you remain a victim. Searching for closure. Closure, folks, is dependent on you, not necessarily on the other person. Okay, I think we have done hopefully 45 minutes, maybe more than 45 minutes. Wow, 7:26. Okay, we must finish 8 o'clock, 7:26. So we are going to stop here and answer some questions. We know we have some questions before. Let's try and answer those before questions. And maybe I did answer some of them in the presentation that I did again. Notwithstanding, we want to revisit those questions. Brother Smith, is there a way that you can bring them up? Or I can bring it up on my phone, because I think I have it right here. And ask those questions. And of such.
Mr. Casey, can you go back to the page with closure, please?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, I'm not a doctor here.
I didn't say that. No, I said Mr.
Right. My pleasure. My mistake. Sorry. Okay. Okay. Right. So I'm saying here, folks, that let me see if I can. Well, you can bring up those questions, and then we go to the questions that we have now. So
you go on, you bring it up on your phone. I don't have them.
Okay. All right. Let me quickly. Yeah, I sent it. It's on this phone here. Okay, here we go. All righty. I hope I'm able to read this question properly. I don't know if Loveen is on, but it says a past victim can become a victimizer with this paranoia you speak about. Short answer, yes. I hope I read the question correctly, but yes. If that's where if it's a comment or a question, the answer is yes to it. And let me read it again, just to ensure that you're all hearing it. It says, a past victim can become a victimizer with this paranoia you speak about. And I'm saying to you, that is definitely true. Levine again says, how long do you wait for change to happen though? And Hopelin said that was a great question. How long do you wait for change to happen? That's a tough one. Jump in anytime, Brother Smith. Alrighty. But how long do you wait for change to happen? I do believe, there's a biblical principle, and I think it was John the Baptist. John the Baptist says, "Bring forth fruits worthy of repentance." And the idea is that if you say you're sorry about something, then it necessitates that you do something about it. If you steal something from me and you said that you're sorry, then to an extent restitution must be made. To a large extent, restitution must be made. So don't tell me sorry, and yet you see your action is showing otherwise. Your action must support your sorrow. Your actions must support your sorrow. And so how long you have to wait, I would say, look at the new behavior. Look at the new behavior and use the new behavior to inform your hopefully, your new position. Use the new behavior to inform, hopefully, your new position. That's how I'll answer that question.
All right. So, on the issue of change, waiting for, where Brother Andre dealt with was looking for action on the other part, other person's side. But we can't control the other person, so we have to look at what it is that we want. So from a change perspective, I think at the end of the day, this comes up every time we do anything. You know, people always want to know how long and so on. It's a difficult question. One of the things that you have to look at in terms of time is what is at stake, what are your interests, what are your goals, how invested you are in the relationship, all those kinds of things come up. What kind of commitments are you willing to stand by? Those things matter. So I don't think that there's a quick answer to say 6 months, 1 year. It really depends on so many factors. And one of the important factors is the commitment that you made at the start. And what does that mean? When you say, okay, fine, you know, till death, and or those kinds of statements. So that's a non-answer, but it is the answer. It depends.
Right. Might I add to what you stated, Brother Smith? And the idea here is sometimes they say, what do you want to? No, seriously, what do you want? So sometimes, can I mirror a different behavior to evoke change in you? There's a question that. Why? Because of what do I want? Look at our children. It's amazing that the amount of adjustments we are prepared to make so that we can mirror the right behavior in our children, even when they failed us continuously, and even when they are not even doing the right thing. We don't go, I'm tired, I talk to you, and give up on them. No, we keep on making the adjustment so that they can mirror the right response or the right behavior in and from us. So that is, I want to add that to what you shared, Brother Smith. Okay, here's another question. From Loveen again. I must admit, I don't catch this question properly, meaning it says, how soon is soon? I don't know if you can remember. I don't remember what I could have said or what I said then that would prod her to ask that question.
I do remember timing, but always it come back down again to the same principle.
Okay.
It's difficult to predict. For some persons, I don't know, I suspect it might have been a forgiveness issue, but timing is not something that you can actually predict and just say yes, 1 week, 2 months, whatever. It depends. A lot of circumstances depends. However, the more open your mind is, the more committed you are to the relationship. Again, you talk about where you want the car to go. All of those things are important. If you want the car to go and your commitment is so with the partner, then of course, the time expanse is a lot greater than if you're not so keen and you don't mind if you're driving alone and end up at a destination alone. So a lot depends on what it is that you want. A lot depends on the commitment to the relationship. A lot depends on those kinds of considerations.
Here's another question. Question says, what if the person is unwilling to forgive because they feel that they are the victim? because they feel that they are the victim? Right. What if the person is unwilling to forgive? Right, because they feel like they're the victim. Makes sense. So if you feel like you're the victim, and oftentimes it is that person who has the challenge to forgiving, by the way, because they feel like they are the victims. What I can say, or what I can say is that forgiveness is 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 a is a habit that you must consistently perform. Why so? Because it helps you more than the person who is clamoring for it, right? Or even make the demand of it. See, if you feel like you're the victim, look at what is happening to you if you fail to forgive. You see the person, you have palpitation of the heart. You want to turn back. You knock your pocket like say you leave something at the car when you don't leave nothing because you don't want to cross path with that person. You know, if you're in the same place, you go on your phone, or like you're talking on your phone or whatever, because you want to distract yourself from having any kind of confrontation with that person. See, I'm saying here, look at what it is doing to you when you go to your bed, right? You're having intrusive thoughts. You're having all of those thoughts about the person, how them wicked and what have you. As soon as you wake up, you need to go on your phone and talk to other people about what they have done to you. All I'm saying here, look at what it is doing to you. So why not try to execute and exercise forgiveness? Because failing to do so, look at what it is doing to you. So you constantly put yourself in pain because of the atrocities of someone else. So here's my question to you. What is it? You know that you're still in pain and you can't seem to shake it. I'm saying try something different. Maybe we can talk to you about how to exercise and execute forgiveness. Maybe we can have that conversation. But all I'm saying here is say, at minimum, just look at what is happening to you now and then ask yourself, do you want to remain in this condition? Brother Smith?
Yeah, we have discussed this multiple times, but I would just suggest that somebody just Google it. Just go into the thing and talk about the medical impact of unforgiveness, and you will see. Seriously, many studies show that forgiveness really is a gift to you, and whether the person is sorry, whether the person is apologetic or not, it is a gift to you. And we're talking about medical science has shown the impact of unforgiveness on you. So that's the medical side. Then there are the relationship sides. Then there's the whole mood side. All of these things keep on having a negative impact on you. And in some instances, and I think maybe some of the chat even for today, speaks to a situation where the person is not even apologetic. In some of those instances, the situation is even worse in that you might be here harming yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, and the other person is not even taking it on. So to me, that is really a tragedy. You know, that's something that you really should consider. And so let it go. Let it go. Yeah. So yeah, I don't want to underestimate the degree of the pain and hurt, especially when there was a high level of trust and that trust is breached. Painful, very, very painful. But at some point in time, you have to decide to move on and to let go the, what shall I say? Forgive.
Yeah. Like I said, we're not going to belabor it, but the truth is, there is too much information on showing the value of forgiving as against failing to do so. And like I said, just look at what is happening to you now and then ask yourself, do I want to remain in this condition? And the answer is no. Then I'm saying, if you need to come in and where we can sit down with you and teach you, yes, some steps to achieve those objectives, then by all means, we invite you to do so. Okay. Last question, and then we take your questions that you might have now. How does one continue in a marriage even after forgiveness is done? Let me make sure I read that properly. This is from Hopelin. She says, how does one continue in a marriage even after forgiveness is done? I hope I represent that question the right way. How do you?
Well, can I jump in and explain a little bit?
Okay, this is Hopelin?
Yes, it is.
Okay, go ahead. Excellent.
So what I meant is, if based on the paranoia and the things that were done during the paranoia, you have forgiven the party, the spouse, of what happened, and now you want to move on, and you can't see yourself in that marriage anymore. But there's a conflict because of the marriage vows. For better, for worse, for richer, for poor.
Okay. You see, wow. What you have to decide what is going to take precedence. And I'm sorry, I'm not being shallow with my response, but you have to decide what's going to take precedence. And why I say that, because again, I can speak from a particular context, but the context that I'm speaking at does not represent the person who is in pain. Not okay. And what am I saying? I'm saying I have seen so many times. Let's use the paranoid person, because not only paranoid. Let's say a person have what is called a mental disorder or a personality disorder. And it is very, 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 very difficult to maintain the kind of relationship that you want, because your partner has these ongoing challenges. So with that, maybe we can talk about what are some boundaries then that we can put in place that can protect us going forward, providing our vows or maintaining the vows is that important to us. So we're having conflict in trying to maintain those vows amidst the ongoing challenges in the relationship. I'm just saying the possibility exists where we can establish boundaries. Don't ask what those boundaries look like, but we can establish boundaries that can protect both ourselves and our partners. It might not give us the harmony that we're looking for, or you know, not with in every aspect of the relationship, the harmony in what? Every aspect of the relationship, but maintaining those vows are that important to me. And of such, I am going to continue to allow the image of God to continue to present itself. I'm going to continue to be a positive influence in educating my partner. That is one aspect. The other aspect is if you recognize that the relationship is reaching a phase and a stage that really and truly necessitates, let's put in even adultery then, where the partner consistently, you know, does things over and over, and no fruits of repentance is being manifested, then again, you wouldn't therefore need to put something in place to protect yourself. And maybe, just maybe, protecting yourself might mean separation. So I hope I answered your question.
Thank you, sir. It's pretty broad, but I have grasped my answer. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Okay, can we take the new questions now if we have them up, Brother Smith?
Okay, let me try and read some of them. How can a person change if he or she stated that there is nothing about them that needs to change?
You want to take that?
No. How can a person change? Yeah, okay, so we have blind spots. Sometimes we are in self-denial, and we all have deficiencies. So from time to time, we might actually feel that we are okay in a particular area where we are not. And that is one of the great things that having a trusting relationship is good, in that a partner could actually come and know how to speak to you about an area that is in need of development, need of change. And hopefully, again, the premise is that there's a trusting relationship. Hopefully, you will take that on board. We had that kind of discussion as well when we looked at the 7 A's. And one of the things is having this access, making yourself accessible to information. And also with being willing to accept feedback, right? So those are some of the things that we have to look at, that I think all of us might have that challenge from time to time, where we do not, especially when we're looking at others and saying, oh boy, that person is doing that. That's where the ego comes in, where we are saying, I'm God, thank God, I'm not like that. So that's something to look at, is to challenge ourselves to be open to feedback. That's where I would go with that. That's the answer that I would say, that if that is so, then you could start to at least understand that there's something to work at. If you don't, then you continue in ignorance. All right.
Okay. Can I possibly add? I don't even know if I want to. Matter of fact, what I want to add is going to probably sound more minus than positive. I use the word minus, not negative, but minus. But a part of the question says, I guess I'm reading into the question, and I'm putting more harm right here. But a person who might have a personality disorder, like even say narcissistic personality disorder.
Okay.
As far as they're concerned, I don't need to change. I have nothing to change. I'm perfect. I'm okay. Any adjustment that needs to be made, it is on you and not on me, because we do have a lot of those, or that type of personality that exists in our marriages, in our relationships. So I am saying here, so I'm forwarding the question to that extent. I'm digging myself into a hole. Mm-hmm. Suppose this person has that kind of mindset. I mean, what do we do if that person, possess those type of challenges? One of the things, so I agree with what you say. Amen. I will also want to say though that you have to protect yourself too. No, literally, you have to protect yourself too. If you recognize that your partner is on a road that says, I really care little about your concern. Remember when we mentioned that there are some clear boundaries that can be violated, which shows that you are the victim. I am saying here, a personality of that sort definitely can make you feel like you're the victim, or by extension, you are the victim. And even with the paranoid one that we mentioned earlier too. So if they're unwilling to change, your next course of action, folks, is to protect yourself. Your next course of action is to protect yourself. Now, protecting yourself does not mean exposing. Protecting yourself does not mean what? Exposing. Don't become ugly to combat ugly. Don't become what? Ugly to combat ugly. Remember, remember we used the illustration, we said that if we have to be careful that we don't say it's because of you, why me? Where we feel that we must get a particular treatment from our partners. We use the word entitlement where that is concerned too. We will feel we must get it. Remember, if red ink is in the person pen and blue ink is in your pen, chances are, folks, it's only red ink you're going to get. I'm the same. So you have to be careful that you don't frustrate yourself in trying to get the person to produce what? Blue ink, when all that is in them is red ink. So you need to put things in place that will protect yourself while you're in this relationship. You have to now look at how you can become victorious rather than remain a victim. Now again, we can use another medium other than this one, where we can have discourses and come up with some ideas about how that can be done. Why? Because each person relationship is different. Meaning, I might say something right here on this platform, which really and truly will not work for someone who is in another relationship and the degree of pain that they're experiencing. And this is why I'd rather say it this way, that we can use other mediums where we can have a discussion about how we can come up with unique rules of engagement, or set up boundaries that will protect us while we find ourselves in these relationships. So that's what I'll add. Any more questions?
Yeah, brother. Sorry, I want to do a little bit of a housekeeping situation. We have 18 new messages. I'm not sure how many are questions. And I see also a hand up. In the light of the lockdown, I'm going to suggest, if possible, that we could go to 8:15. Let's just see if we can close this off, because we have a very important that we want to look at next time on the 17th. So I'm going to ask that we extend our time to 8:15. So let's look at some of the other questions that are there. I hope that works for you. You're a busy man. So if a person, I have read this 3 times, so I don't know if Elliot is on. It would be good if they could share, because I've read it a couple of times and I'm not sure. If a person was raised in a bad home, example, father cheating in his presence, toxic, loud profanity, verbally abusive, doesn't like to be corrected, and the works, not physically abusive though, if they were not aware till after marriage and kids, what to do?
Well, I think, Brother Smith, I think I understand the question. I must admit.
Yeah, I think so. I'm getting, having read it this next time, no, I think I've got it. Go ahead.
So I'm just kind of saying here, what I said earlier is the same answer I want to give to that question, that you have to put things in place to protect yourself. The challenge is on this person. You have to put things in place. Also, you have to also ask yourself, and I think we went there, where do we want this relationship to go? Sometimes, folks, you can't save the relationship, even with your best efforts. You cannot save the relationship. Sometimes, with your best effort, you cannot save the relationship. Listen, Jesus came to save the world. And Jesus says, many choose a different pathway than the one that he prefers that people will choose. Few chooses his way, okay? And all I'm just trying to say here, sometimes with our best efforts, we can only do the right thing and pray that folks will mirror the right behavior, rather than find ourselves reacting to ugliness. Find ourselves what? Reacting to ugliness. Remember, if you squeeze orange, only orange juice can come from it. If you squeeze lime, only lime juice can come from it. When we get squeezed, what is coming out of us? Or what is coming out of us when we get squeezed? The scenarios that we put here are squeezing scenarios. Now the question is, what is coming out of me when I get squeezed in this way? And so finding out, having some one-on-one dialogue with different persons to find out what kind of adjustments they can make, to manage this kind of stressor is not something that we can give a broad brush response to.
Okay. One take on this could be, also, I'm trying to interpret as well. One take could be that there is this question of the generational problem. In other words, the person had this kind of history and has now, they're now recognizing that that was the case and might be bringing it over into this. We can actually break the cycle. So that's one of the things that you need to consider, that it is possible that you could have generations, and just the same way that, somebody could say, I'm the first person out of my family to go to a university and so on. You could also be the first person that didn't abuse your partner. So it is possible to have that mindset that even though this is the history, this is how I have seen people treat a spouse, I'm going to be different. And I'm going to set an example for my children. So there's a hope that's there as well for us to understand that because our parents and foreparents behaved in a particular way, it doesn't necessarily mean that we have to follow that pattern. So I think that's something to understand as well. All right. Some people are I like that thing actually, that if you want to get something out of the phone, ask. Yeah, so ask for what you're searching for instead of doing the searching. All right, so how do you cope with someone who keeps bringing up your past? How do you cope with someone who keeps bringing up your past?
I mean, short answer, because we have so many things.
Yeah.
My thing is, sometimes I have to learn to tell people, no, thank you. Yes, man, if I give you something that you don't want, stop taking it. I say, no, thank you. Or sometimes they say, well, since it is so a challenge for you, I've already shared with you, what I have done and what I am doing. And evidently you're not looking at what I'm doing, but you're still concentrating on what I've done. I want to invite you to look for other means other than myself to help you to manage this problem, because I am at peace with how I have managed my life going forward. Just have that candid information and leave it right there. Them can bring it up, but you don't have to take it. You can just okay, fine. I'm just saying that's a simplistic answer. I agree. But I mean, there's so much other ways, different things that we can equally add, but we just want to try and get in as many questions as possible. So that's just, I'm just saying, they're bringing it up, so it's them have the issue. Then invite them to go find a means to go deal with it, but you don't have the expertise to manage that issue, although they want you to do the same.
Yeah, okay, that basically, normally when people do that, it is to cause pain, but if you don't let it hurt you, as you say, just get yourself to a place where you're all right. All of that bad thing happened. Yeah, but I'm at peace now. So when you bring it up now, it's neither here nor there. All right, so I think this one you answered. What about the level of pain you're in? You spoke to that, so I'm gonna move a little bit forward unless you want to address it. I think you were making the point that if you have pain, I think the last time you were talking about if there's a prickle in your hand or something like that, then you need to remove that. So you need to deal with it. But go ahead. There's a question about level of pain.
Right. All right. The level of pain. All right, let me answer the fast, easy way. The level of pain just means that you need to increase the level of intervention. So if your level of pain is -5, and you cannot add another -5 to that, because the level of pain is going to equal greater. Okay. So what do you want based upon the level of pain you're experiencing? Do you want to come out better? Well, it means that it's the intervention that you have to take, that you have to employ must be positive in relation to the negative you're experiencing. Must be. So again, we can have some one-on-one where we talk about what those positives can look like, so as to ensure that at the end of the day, you come out with something positive rather than still feeling down and broken.
Okay, another one. I'm sorry, dealing with the questions. There are some, could invite persons to actually look in the chat. There are some commendations and so on, which we thank you for. What if you find it hard to move on because you want to know why the hurt was done and the other person refuses to give you that closure? Again, it was dealt with, but it.
Right. Remember, I said that to say, but you know what? See, right here. So I said, too many times we allow ourselves to suffer unnecessary hurt because we believe that closure must be enacted a particular way. And we feel that the person must say sorry. We feel that the person must do this and must do that. And if the person fails to do it, then the truth is we are the ones who is now victimizing ourselves. And not only that, suppose the person doesn't want to engage you in the way they want, in the way rather you want them to engage you. Suppose they said, no, I'm not going to say sorry. Then again, you remain in pain. So understand that closure must start and end with whom? With you, because it is you who is feeling the pain. The question you must ask yourself, do I want to remain in it or relieve myself of it? Since you are the one who is feeling it. That's your question, which then means you must make that decision, not the other person. Next.
Okay. Yeah, the question was actually why the person must explain to you why they did it. Yeah, but I can tell you anything anyway. What if a person repeatedly say he or she wants no one to change them, always say it in an upset manner? You know, I don't want you to change me. You know, don't fix me. You're not God. Okay, so that's the question. What if a person repeatedly says he or she does not want anybody to change them and always say it in an upset manner? Leave me alone, fix yourself. It's a question, sir.
Okay, well, I mean, if they're getting upset, it's because somebody keep on saying something to them and they feel a little bit frustrated because they don't feel like they are being allowed to be themselves. You know, one of the things we mentioned here is that the truth is male-female differences. Male-female differences. Here's our problem. We continue to treat people from our point of reference. That is the problem. You know? We keep on treating people from what? From our own point of reference. And so, because we believe that our point of reference is the right one, then we almost want to indoctrinate our partner to think like us and to behave like us. Listen, you never married to yourself? You know, when you look at the mirror, who you see? Yourself. When you look at your partner, it's not a mirror you're looking through, okay? When you look at your partner, you're not looking through your what? Your mirror, which means two different images standing in front of you. Okay, your image and your partner's image. It's two different images is being confronted here, which then means you're two different persons. And so I'd want to encourage you to learn about your partner, investigate about your partner, recognize what are the things that will make your partner feel happy, and then make a decision as to whether or not you are prepared to do those things to bring about the happiness in and from your partner. And of course, we expect the same kind of behavior from the partner. where they too, rather than coming with the bucket list of saying, this is who I am, take it or leave it. No, let us investigate. Let us find out who is this person and what are the sacrifices. I shouldn't even use the word sacrifices, but what is it that I'm prepared to do to satisfy you so that we can have harmony? What is the goal of the relationship? If the goal is to have a beautiful, harmonious relationship, then let us find out what is it that I can do to make my partner happy. Okay, let us, but oftentimes we don't do that. We come with our own new ideology and say, take this, when the other partner is saying, but I'm not accepting of what you're giving me. Okay, so we're saying, do the investigation.
All right, from an editorial point of view, the answers are going to be much shorter going forward because of time. All right, so Shelley-Ann helped us with Matthew 11:25, that's for, supports the issue of forgiveness, and we have some others that are supporting that, Angela, person who believes he can make his own decision, no matter how it affects the members of his family, I suppose. He believes what he decides is his business. When it is really that he's wrong, he feels to apologize and just want to behave as if everything can go back to normal without any regard for his spouse. This situation continued for 15 years of not being together. He realizes his error, but he's not humble to discuss, apologize, but just behave as if nothing happened. Short answer, sir?
That was a long, I don't know if that was a comment or a question.
It's not a question. I've really, yeah, there's somebody that went on, just did their own thing, caused problems, but has never come around to apologize. So.
But you don't mirror the behavior. All I'm saying.
Yeah, I think the family has to decide what they want to do.
Yeah, but for sure, I'm saying don't mirror the behavior. You don't have to mirror the behavior, because the minute you start to feel victimized by that behavior, then hurt people. If you feel hurt, sometimes you don't find the energy to do the right thing, and that's why you have to be careful that you don't become a monster to get people to do the right thing. Okay, Jesus Christ did not change his disposition because of the way he was treated. A person's bad behavior did not dictate his response. And this is why in his teaching, he would say, do good to those who despitefully use you, persecute you, and say all manner of evil against you falsely. And so all I'm saying here is, amidst the ugliness, we can't stop ugliness from reaching us, but we must decide how we're going to respond to it. That's the short answer.
Okay, I forget even shorter. All right, what if you are aware of the victim, but you forgive the victimizer and they refuse to change instead of continually continue to speak about the past things and act as if you are the reason for their mistakes?
Don't take it. I'm just saying, fine.
Yes, right.
Sometimes, it is on them, it's not on you. Don't make people turn you into victims, folks. Okay. Don't person's opinion of you doesn't identify who you are. Okay?
Okay, short answer. Somebody's suggesting that Brother Andre Allen Casey, let me put it in there, it doesn't say it's in the chat, but could Brother Allen Casey please speak to the topic sexless marriages, especially in Christian marriages? All right, so that you can put on your agenda. Andre, okay, Angela, this is so true. Not every relationship can be saved, she's saying. What if the past is still affecting the present? Give yourself a gift.
Give yourself a present by living in the present.
Right, that's what I answer.
Yeah.
Let me just try to run down somewhere quickly. Some people outside don't like to see that you are at peace, and that's why they keep bringing back and talking about your past. All right, with that past thing already, you have to let it go and just let the stuff pass over your head. Okay. I have to put it to rest. Yeah, I have to put some things to rest. Let me try see if I can go down. Hold on. Have I missed anything, Brother Rowan? I don't think so. I think I've covered it.
Yes, you missed one, Mr. Smith. You missed my other question.
Which is, say it out loud, please.
What is that again? Secret Service agent. I'm asking because Brother Andre mentioned when you say a change, because it wasn't that was not in the initial stage, right? If you're trying to talk to the person about the change and the person shut down, how do you deal with that?
Ah, okay. I saw the Secret Service. Thank you. Yes, you heard that, sir?
So if, say again, I would want
If you're trying to talk about the change that you see, in other words, if you see secret screening and you ask about it and the person shuts down, what you do?
I'm saying this, how you, oftentimes how we engage persons, if we come in an accusatory way, then we're not helping the conversation. So what we're doing, we are, when we come, we are literally making a request like, because you're coming as innocent as possible. Mark, you know, even with your innocence, you know, maybe see the person's response is because they're guilty. Don't get me wrong. Maybe their response is because they're guilty. But at minimum, it's like you're still giving them the benefit of the doubt. But that benefit of the doubt now, because you're giving them the benefit of the doubt, it helps to formulate the question that you're asking them. So you really want to find, is there something wrong? You know, I noticed one, so it's happening, you know, whatever. As if to say, so you're not coming and say, by the way, you know, see a change, two different approach. And I'm saying, you see, rather than coming where they're going to feel exposed, you are coming to express. You're not coming to expose, but you're coming to express. And so with that, you're really asking, if upon that, you see, you find that, I am saying sometimes, you see, if them give you this answer, be careful that that you totally discard it. I don't want you to totally discard it. I want you to take it under consideration. I want you to sieve it. I don't want you to be naive, but at the same time, if at this point in time, this is the best answer that can help you to go forward in your relationship, to an extent, I am saying take it. If on the other hand, it is still not measuring up, then I'm saying go back and having the conversation. Why? Talk about how it is affecting you and affecting the relationship. And so if there's a desire to ensure that the relationship you know, has the kind of harmony that you're desiring in this relationship, then continue to make the appeal, not to expose, but to express. That's the shortest way I can answer that.
That's a good answer, sir. All right. So we have to just get on with some of our housekeeping. No, I see one last one here though. But let me just state something, because I see people going and I don't want them to go before we share what's happening here. I would imagine that most of us are concerned about violence against women, children, the elderly, what's happening there. And so there is a request for us to look at that. So the next session, which is on the 17th, we are going to start by looking at how do real men deal with conflict. How do real men deal with conflict? So what we want to do is to ask you not only to make a note in your calendars to participate, but to bring people in. And let me tell you now, while we're talking about real men, the issue is not just about the men. One of the things that we will look at is to see that our socialization is one of the challenges why we're having that issue. And so therefore parents need to be involved to help to see that the next generation doesn't end up with the same challenges. So we're gonna ask you, please make sure that you are here on the 14th at 6:30, but also please just give the same link that you use to get others to come. All right, so just wanted to get that in before we lose more and more of our people. And then the last questions go to HMB. Oh gosh, come on, Techie. Is the spouse's responsibility to help the one who is experiencing a mental condition or paranoia, who is not willing to admit it, to help them to seek the necessary help? That's straight up your street, Barbara.
The first thing I would say to you is, if you leave them to their own device, how is it going to impact the relationship? If you leave them to their own device, how is it going to impact the relationship? Do you really think it's going to work out in a good way? And if the answer is no, it therefore means that then that intervention must take place. And that intervention can start with you. That intervention can start with you. Now, it would be nice for them to take responsibility going forward. But a lot of times, whenever, if I have a condition and I do not believe that I have a condition, I mean, who walks around and say, I have paranoid personality disorder? Nobody does that. Most persons say, listen, I saw mistake, call me paranoid, but, so you see it? So as far as they're concerned, they're justifying even the fact that they're paranoid. They even see their own paranoia as a safety mechanism for them to function. So you have to understand their own conceptualization, which then means to say, your approach has a lot to do with the outcome for your relationship. So all I'm saying here is say, and that approach, I call it your intervention. Why? Because if you don't exercise some kind of intervention, then your relationship is going to suffer. So therefore, I'm saying here that they will not necessarily accept that they have an issue, by the way. So that's the first thing. They will not necessarily do so. But what you can do, you can use different types of approaches. You can say, hey, I noticed that each time this happens to you. You can talk to them, you can teach them what I call faith, fact, feeling equal functionality. Faith, fact, feeling equal functionality. And then teach them the importance of separating each of them to ensure that they have the right functionality. Faith, fact, feeling equal functionality. That's just one approach, by the way. But again, this medium is not the medium where we explore all of the approaches to help folks to deal with some things. But faith, fact, feeling equal functionality. What does that mean? You cannot replace nor displace faith, fact, or feeling, because if you do so, then you're going to have a dysfunctional relationship. So that is one of the things. Another thing you can teach them is how to process their own feelings. How to process their own feelings. If they have not been taught on how to process their own feelings, then they will forever ask you to make the adjustment for them to feel better. Okay. So again, that regulates intervention strongly via a person in my profession.
Okay, we have to leave it there, unfortunately. I want to thank you for your participation and want to invite you. We use the same link tomorrow. We worship at 9 and we have our Bible class immediately after. So we also meet on Tuesday for our midweek Bible class. Starts at 6:30 using the same link and password. All right. And of course, as we say, we're going to be back on the 14th with this very critical issue.
17th.
17th. What did I say? 14. Sorry, 14 days time. 17th. Sorry. Thank you. So that's it. Just want to remind you that this series is being sponsored by the St. Andrew Church of Christ, the replays, all media is at standrewchurchofchrist.org/media. It's on youtube.com/c/simplychristianja or on facebook.com/simplychristianja. All of it is there. All right. And so thank you again. Please, please, please let us see if we can do our part to try to see if we can change the crisis that's happening in our land with respect to abuse of persons who are vulnerable, women, children, and the LGBT. We're done. If you want to hang around a little bit, that they will have some music for you. And take care. God bless you. Thank you, Brother Andre, for another very important presentation. Learned a lot, and may God bless you.
Good night. Thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Peace.